Breaking news in Israel. A political crisis that's been brewing for months is nearing its boiling point. In just hours, the Israeli parliament is set to begin the voting process on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's highly controversial plan to strip power from the Supreme Court. Tens of thousands of pro-democracy protesters taking to the streets across Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. NBC's Raf Sanchez is in Jerusalem and joins us now. So, Raf, what is the scene like there ahead of this monumental vote?
Well, Lindsay, you can see behind me that the protesters have turned what is usually one of the busiest intersections in downtown Jerusalem into an absolute sea of blue and white Israeli flags. And these demonstrators say they will stay here for as long as it takes, even if it's overnight, to try to stop Netanyahu's plan to weaken the Israeli Supreme Court. They're chanting now, shame, 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 which has been one of the rallying cries of the protest. Lindsay, we heard a few minutes ago from the leader of a group of military reservists. These are men who used to be in the same commando unit that Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, once served in. They are saying they will no longer show up for reserve duty if this legislation goes ahead. They say they signed up to serve in the military of a democratic country, but they fear that democracy is under threat from Netanyahu's plans. And if anything is going to change Netanyahu's mind, Lindsay, it may be this threat from the reservists to stop showing up. It's especially an issue in the Israeli Air Force. In some squadrons, half the pilots are reservists as opposed to full-time duty. And over the weekend, hundreds of Air Force pilots have said they are going to stop showing up. The chief of staff of the Israeli military says this is already damaging Israel's military readiness. You can see the crowd just going crazy here for one of the protest leaders who's on stage right now. Now, Lindsay, as you said, Netanyahu is pushing ahead despite the fact he was rushed to hospital early this morning to be fitted with a pacemaker. His doctors say he was suffering from heart arrhythmia, which is an irregular heartbeat. The Prime Minister posted a video on social media earlier. He said he's feeling fine and that he plans to be in the Israeli parliament tomorrow for the final vote as this legislation goes through. Now, this is one part of his overall plan to weaken the Supreme Court. This is a bill that would make it so the court could no longer rule Israeli government decisions unreasonable. So earlier this year, Lindsay, the court ruled that it was unreasonable when Netanyahu tried to appoint a man convicted of tax fraud to senior government positions. And these protesters fear that if that is struck down, there will be one less check on the government's power. They fear that one of the things the government might do immediately is fire the Attorney General, a law enforcement officer who has stood in the way of some of Netanyahu's more extreme plans. But right now, Lindsay, Netanyahu is planning to push ahead with this vote, and it is not clear that this crowd, even in these numbers, is going to be able to stop him. Lindsay?
Okay, Raf Sanchez, we appreciate you keeping us updated on everything going on there. We will continue to monitor the situation.